join us as we discuss with you some topics that are related to long distance relationships, interracial marriage relationship, and age gap relationship. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to our channel. And to those who are new to our channel, my name is Merced. I'm a mom and a wife. I've got two lovely kids, ages 3 and 6 years old. So I am married to an English guy. So we've been married for 2 years, but we've been together altogether for 7 years. And I will officially introduce him to you later on. So join with me later on. So we've been in a long distance relationship for 7 years. So like we see each other 5 times a year for like 3 to 4 weeks each time. But sometimes it's longer, like 2 months to 3 months. So it's been like that since we get together. But pretty soon he'll be retiring. So most of the times, if not all the times, we'll be together. And also, he's very much my senior, so basically we are in an age gap relationship. Just want to share with you our life, our experiences, and the lessons that we learned along the way. Join us as we discuss with you some topics that are related to long distance relationships, interracial marriage relationship, and age gap relationship. So for tonight's video, we're gonna be asking my husband a question, and that question is, why Filipina? So you'll hear later his reasons as to why he chose to be with a Filipina and to get married to a Filipina. Okay? See you later. Here we go!
Hello everybody, my name is Nigel and I'm the loving husband of Mercy.
Right, so ngayon di ba usong-uso na yung mga Pinay na nakapag-asawa ng mga AFAM or yung foreigners na naghahanap ng mga Pilipina. But let's have a look and let's find out ano ba yung mga rason ng mga foreigners kung bakit mas gusto nila na makapag-asawa ng mga Pinay. Okay? So, I've prepared some questions for my husband for him to answer and for you to know and for you to hear from his side and his point of view about us Filipinos. Okay? So, number 1 question is there somebody or someone or something that influenced you to date a Filipino?
Very good friends who have been very friendly with for about 20 years. I'd worked for him and he worked for me, and I knew him in England, and he had a Filipino wife, and he then went back to the Philippines, retired back to the Philippines and made a home in Tarlac in Luzon, and he invited me to come and stay with him, and so I thought I'd come and stay with him, but also I thought I would date some Filipinas, and so I came to Tarlac to stay with him, and I asked Mercy to come up and see us in Tarlac, and the rest is history. So yes, it was my pharmacist, Freemason friend Joe that made me decide to date Filipinas, and I've never regretted it.
What are those positive points or positive traits that attracted you in a Filipino then?
Well, the primary one is the fact that Filipinas have a good grasp in English, because English is one of the two languages of the Philippines, and not everyone in UK comprehends that. And one thing they certainly don't comprehend is the fact that the Philippines is a Christian country. Most Westerners who erroneously believe that the Philippines is either Buddhist like Thailand or a Muslim country like Indonesia. So that means it's easy to communicate, and very much part of the relationship is the ability to communicate. And the fact that the Filipinos have a Christian caring culture is what makes Filipinos such very good loving partners. And indeed you see that in the culture, because Filipinas and Filipinos in general make very good nurses, very good carers, and they do very well in the service industries. If you go on a cruise ship, you'll find the Indonesians are the cabin stewards, and everyone in the purser's department are Filipinos. Filipinos are family orientated, they're honest, they're loyal, they're supportive of their men.
Compare then Western women to us Asian, or in particular Filipino women.
They're not as assertive and career-minded like Western women, and they're certainly not confrontational like Western women. Western women are harder work, more confrontational.
Hard work.
And that's not to say that you haven't got to work in any relationship. The thing is, if you've got a Filipino wife as opposed to a Western wife, then you're on much firmer ground, and it's much easier to overcome any possible negative traits, whereas Western women tend to be very less tolerant, and possibly don't work at relationships as family as much as Filipinos would. I believe have lost their way, and have lost sight of a lot of traditional values, and a lot of Western women will put their careers themselves ahead of their partners. That's not to say that a relationship should be a democratic relationship, and it should be a relationship of equals and caring for each other, but that is probably one of the biggest differences between Asian women in general and Filipinas in particular and Western women, is their attitudes and values.
But is there anything that you hate or you don't like really, or what's those traits in that's sorry, prevalent among Filipinos that it's less attractive to you?
It's probably, as I say, it spins off their submissiveness and support and loyalty, in the fact that Filipinos often are not very decisive, and
yes, I am not. I'm guilty of that. I'm not very good with the making decision.
And if you ask them if they want to do something, then you get the classic Filipino reply, "It's up to you." And then of course you have to decide whether what scale of "it's up to you" is positive or negative. But as you get to know Filipinas, you know that maybe and later, and we'll see, tend to be negatives, and it's up to you. It's usually a positive sign. So I think as well, Filipinos often will avoid confrontation, but sometimes if there's something upsetting you, you need to bring it out and just to say I'm fine, or I'm fine.
Yeah, because like sometimes when they're asked if you're right, I say, yeah, I'm fine. But deep inside, you're not really.
Yeah. So that's probably the downside. Positive virtues of Filipinas far outweigh any of the negative points. And then of course the other thing as well, which you have to understand with Filipinos is, and it's not necessarily a bad trait, but some Westerners find it difficult to comprehend. If you marry a Filipina, you marry the family. Because of course the Asian culture is you look after your family and you look after your parents. Whereas of course in the West, you don't tend to look after your siblings as much as you would in an Asian culture. And of course in the West, old people get put away in care homes where they get institutionalised and go down very fast. Whereas in the Asian culture, people look after their parents and respect their parents and are very kind to their parents, to the extent that many Filipinas become OFWs to support all their extended family. That's something that you wouldn't get in the West.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
I don't have a problem with that. But anyone that is going to have a serious relationship with a Filipina, a Westerner, needs to understand that it is expected that you will help look after the extended family. Not because you're a wealthy Westerner, which you may well be, but in fact, but it's because of the culture. Poor people look after extended family, and so even if you're a wealthy Westerner with a money tree in the garden, it's even more likely that you'll be expected to help support all the family, and that probably is something that some Western men find it hard to comprehend. They're quite happy to support their wives, they're quite happy to support even the stepchildren that they've inherited with their Filipino wives, but to find some difficulty in looking after siblings and parents. And I know some Western men that are married to Filipinas do struggle with this concept.
And of course there's always pros and cons in that aspect, and I think that's something that we can discuss later on.
Yes, that is probably one of the biggest differences between the West and Asian culture is the support of extended family. Many Western families are dysfunctional, and you don't get 3 generations all living together. But of course, on the plus side of it is, of course, in Asian culture, the grandparents will help look after the children.
Yeah.
And indeed for OFWs, often the grandparents are looking after children and the overseas Filipino workers are working overseas. In fact, the biggest tragedy for an Asian person is to go to old age without any children. Because you go to old age without children if you're in an Asian culture, where many countries do not have the welfare state of the West, and you've got a serious problem. Who's going to look after you if you've got no children? If you're not in a Western culture with a very comprehensive safety net of a welfare state.
I think we've covered everything.
We've covered a lot today, but do come back for the next episode.
Alright, let's wrap it up then. So, I think what we have, just give us 3 traits basically that Filipinos do possess that, that's to you as attractive, or, that's like a selling points, called Filipino selling points talaga. Just to wrap it up.
Yes,
because we got that question, why Filipina? I think so. Just wrap it up.
But in one sentence, Filipinas make very attractive girlfriends and wives to Westerners because they have good English communication skills.
Right, good English communication skills, that's number 1.
Number 2,
Number 2,
they come from a caring Christian culture and background. And number 3, a Filipina is very supportive and loyal and stands behind her man, in contrast to the feminist, selfish nature of many Western, but not all, women.
Alright, so there you go. So those are the top 3 characteristics that many Westerners, like my husband, find in us Filipinos attractive. Yeah, so that's it.
And she even packs my suitcase for me.
It's okay because he pays for the flight.
We'll talk again on other subjects, and we're glad to welcome you back another day.
So there you go, guys. If you want more content like this, or if you have any questions, just comment down below and isa-isahin namin yan, basahin, and then we can talk about that later on our
Bye for now.
sa susunod na mga videos. Alright, bye guys. And again, if you are new inewan na ako. If you are new to our channel and you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell button para updated kayo if we have a new upload. Okay? Thank you for watching and see you later. Stay safe, guys. Stay at home. Bye-bye. Mwah. Okay, there you go.